Professional pickleball players have a grueling schedule. If you've ever thought that you could be a professional pickleball player, think twice, because being a professional pickleball athlete is tough. You probably think that you could do it, or that it's an easy, cush life. Travel around the country, play a bunch of pickleball. It's not as simple as it looks. I train multiple professional pickleball athletes. I train multiple pros, and their schedule is tough. And I want to show you what their schedule looks like. I want to show you what their workout schedule looks like, what their training regimen is like, and what their year is like, because they're playing 25 plus events a year, as well as they're also drilling, they're playing rec games, and they're working out in between. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a year-long macro cycle of what it is to be a professional pickleball player, what their workouts look like, how their training regimen is, as well as I want to see if you still think you can handle it at the end of this video. So let's take a look at what we got. This is our annual plan. So looking at this, you're going to see, let's start to the left, annual plan, month, week start, right? So if it's month, I'll just place the month over here. If they come in October, I'll start in October, and then I'll plan out 6 to 12 months at a time. Week start, I'll put in the actual dates of that Monday of the beginning of the week. So some it's 4, some it's 5 Mondays within a month. The training phase, what that phase looks like, and what I kind of call it if it's accumulation phase. And then we'll get into, as you see, general prep, advanced intensification. This just kind of helps me organize my thoughts and kind of puts down the programs that I'm thinking and the periodization styles that I'm thinking for that athlete. Events, I'll put in the tournament for that week that they have going on. If it's an off week, the tournament, off week, maybe they have an event, or maybe they're teaching that week. I'll put in literally anything that they have going on that week that's like kind of major. If it's, maybe they're traveling to see a family member, I'll put that in as well, because it's stress, right? Like traveling is stress, tournaments are stress, different things like that. So I want to be able to account for that stress and change the plan accordingly. Sessions just comes down to how many sessions per week they're going to be doing, right? So if it's tournament week, it's probably going to be 1, maybe 2 if it's a light session, and off week somewhere in between 3 and 5. The emphasis within that training phase, I'll just kind of put in here to help organize my thoughts. And then below that, you'll see different colors as well as words right here. Hypertrophy is hype, as I put in there. So hypertrophy and strength, that's just going to be more volume work, so higher rep work. Strength is going to be more pure strength, so heavier, lighter volume or lower volume. Strength, speed, plyo and speed work purely there, and then agility below that. And then lastly, ESD focus, that's going to be energy system development. So that just means like conditioning. What kind of conditioning are we doing? How are we training the energy system here? This all helps organize my thoughts, right? So let's stay within this little section here, like looking at this. Within this first month, you're going to see that they have 2 tournaments within the month. And our focus is, let's say this is probably a new client, a new athlete. The focus here, it says squat, hinge, press, row, volume. So we're working those foundational movements primarily. We're doing other things, but this is where my thought in my head is at. We want to learn how to squat, hinge, press, and row really well. I want to get that form down perfectly. I want to do a lot of reps within it so that they can get the work capacity and learn the form, as well as, like I said, like put the body through some higher loads, some higher volume, and increase their work capacity. So high rep work here within their first month. We're still doing plyo and speed work pretty much always. It's just not an emphasis all the time. So here I put it in there just because. Agility, sometimes I'll put the actual agility work that we're doing in there, or the kind of agility work that we're doing, because if it's more like reaction based or competitive based, it changes. But other than that, like I'm not putting in the actual exercises. But when it comes to like plyo, sometimes I'll put in like the progression that we're on within their plyo progression. Energy system, they have 2 tournaments this week or this month. So within their off weeks, we'll do a little bit, and it looks like more work capacity for this client, this sample client. So cardiac output, it's just we're doing bike intervals for time. So a lot more long and slow distance work right here at the beginning. But as you look over to month 2, we have a Grand Slam coming up. So within Grand Slams, we tend to deload. Most people want to deload around those because they offer the most points, most money. They're just the most important ones. So we'll always plan that out with the athlete of what do you want to peak around? What do you want to feel best for? Is it MLPs? Is it Grand Slams? Like, what events do you want to peak for? Maybe you have a partner that you couldn't usually land, and you landed that partner for this week. You want to make sure you're feeling good and you play good for and with that partner. So a lot of this is collaborative. I want to be able to, get all their events, get all their travel down, as well as talk to them about how they want to feel going into events, as well as what events they want to peak for. So sometimes we'll have to deload before or after, not before and after, but like sometime in between different slams. But that just varies. At the top, you'll see it says we are here. I just kind of keep that sliding, right? Every week I'll move that over. So when the athlete looks at this, they have a good understanding. All right, this is where we're at. This is what I got this week. And this is kind of the phase that I'm in. They can always look at this and understand what the process looks like, because it is a collaborative approach. So if you look at we are here and you go down, they're in a microdosing phase because they have 3 tournaments back to back to back. So within this phase, our primary emphasis is going to be maintenance, as you see. It's going to be, let's not lose anything that we've gained over the last 2 months, because you have 3 tournaments back to back. I want you to do well in those tournaments. So training isn't going to be our emphasis, but I do want you to train a little bit. So within that, our goal is to hit 1 to 2 workouts a week, probably 1, maybe 2 on one of the weeks. Just maintain what we've gained, because the next 3 weeks we have off. We have 3 weeks off in a row. That's when we can put our head down. We can get some good, solid work in. But as you can see, if I slide this over, I have 6 months here just for you to look at. I'll usually do 6 months at a time, maybe 12, but every quarter we're going to assess, test, and kind of make changes. What's been working, what's not been working, what can we be better at, and then we'll make changes to it. So I have a plan, but it's not all set in stone. A lot of it is, there's coaching that comes into it, and feel that comes into it, and understanding what the athlete needs in that moment, and we got to make changes. So this is kind of what a year looks like for an athlete on the professional pickleball tour. They're playing a lot of events. It is tough, it is grueling, and if you're not planned like this, you're not going to be successful. So this is imperative to, 1, their success and performance on the court, but also staying healthy, because the best ability is going to be availability. So you got to be available. You got to be able to show up on tournament week 25 times a year. If you're interested in some training, give me a shout. We do one-on-one virtual training for clients and athletes all over the country. It's all individualized to you and your goals. So give us a shout if that's not something you're interested in. We do have that Pickleball Program 001, which is a group program geared for pickleball players. It's only $1 a day. It's a year-long commitment, $1 a day, but it comes with weekly workouts, refiner workouts. It's pretty sick. So give that a whirl. Thanks for tuning in. This is what it looks like to be a pro. Think you can handle it? Comment down below. If you think you could be a good pro, if you could handle this kind of schedule, give me a shout below and tell me why.